5 a.m. feels like I shouldn't be seeing the world right now. I'm going back to sleep. But it's really doing nothing for my reading. Why can't I finish a sentence? Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to be waking up at 5 a.m. for a week to see if I can read more, because I'm usually the type of person that reads before I fall asleep. And lately I've been getting into bed and just falling asleep instantly. So I want to kind of switch it up, wake up earlier and see if that works. I know this works for a lot of people. And yeah, I just wanted to try it. I wanted to challenge myself to waking up earlier and to get more reading done. So full disclaimer, I am filming this intro after I've already done the week of torture. And I just want to apologize for how disoriented I've been when I was talking. I feel like I was switching my sentences midway and I've just been a mess. But hopefully you enjoyed this video anyway. These bright overhead lights, I should probably put more on. Also, I forgot the book that I'm reading. But these bright overhead lights are the only way I'm gonna stay awake. If I stay in my room with my dim lighting in my bed, it's over. This is what I'm reading. Honestly, I'm really hungry. Why am I hungry when I'm usually not awake at this hour? Why does 5 a.m. feel so demonic, but 6 a.m. feels normal? What is that about? 6 a.m. feels like such an appropriate time to be awake. 5 a.m. feels like I shouldn't be seeing the world right now. Okay, anyways. What was I saying? This is what I'm reading. Yes, I don't have a lot of this left. Honestly, a lot of the back of this is like bonus content and book club stuff. So this is like almost done. The Paradise Problem by Christina Lauren. This is only the second book I've read by them. The other one is Love in Other Words. And I don't know why I've never picked up something else by them. I like this. I liked Love in Other Words too. Except for the part when they were adults. And that's a whole different story. But this has been fun. It's been funny. This is exactly what I needed after my last video. And I was reading books that were a little bit more intense. Actually, kind of all month I've been reading books that are a little bit more intense, because even before that video, I read a Kristen Hanna book. And if you know, you know. Wow, this is the most I've ever spoken. I feel like my voice doesn't even sound like my own. I was gonna say this is the most I've ever spoken before 6 a.m. Anyway, I think I'm gonna have to eat breakfast. I also do have coffee. And I can't have coffee without... Like, coffee would help, but I can't have coffee without... I can't have coffee on an empty stomach. We got there. We got there. Why can't I finish a sentence? Okay, I know I'm supposed to like wake up 5 a.m. start reading, but I'm gonna go eat. I'm gonna go have coffee. So I'm done with the Paradise Problem. I never said what this is about. Does it even matter? It's marriage of convenience, which I have found out that I like a lot more than fake dating, because it just feels like the stakes are so much higher and it feels like so much more intense. It's Sometimes fake dating can feel a little bit silly. It's like, do you really need to do all of this? But this is marriage of convenience because the guy wants his inheritance and she needs money as well. So I'm not explaining this right. He's kind of paying her, but I swear it's not like that. Anyway, they're in a fake marriage and she has to go on this like private island vacation with his entire family, and his entire family is intense and like rich and messed up. So that was like really entertaining. I had fun. Honestly, do I believe in their love? Not really. It's one of those where like, are they gonna be together still in a couple years? Who knows? But I had fun reading this, and I feel like it did exactly what I needed it to do. I just needed something that was going to put my mind at ease, something not sad. I'm tired of reading sad books. I feel like now I truly understand what people mean when they say they need palette cleansers. This was that. It was great for that. Also, the summer reading has begun. I kind of don't know what I'm gonna rate it. Somewhere between 3.5 and 4 though. Maybe I should think about that later in the day when I'm a little bit more awake. But I'm gonna put it on the screen. Obviously, I'll figure it out by the time I'm done with this video. I need to go outside. I feel like the sun is definitely up now, and that would help me to wake up, being outside, some daylight, some fresh air. But I'm going to pick another read. I read 45 pages of this, by the way. Well, when I pick another read and I read more, obviously, I'll tell you how much I read today. I will say though, I'm not sure if I'm going to be reading that much more because I swear it took me so long just to read 45 pages. Like, my brain is a lot slower in the morning. But we'll see how this goes. Maybe it'll get better as the week goes on. Who knows? I'm gonna go like try to wake up some more and then we'll pick another book. I wanted to nap so bad, but I didn't. Going outside, taking a walk, that really did help. Anyway, gonna choose my next book now. I'm looking at Tom Lake. This is the last book on my May TBR, and I could read this and just finish up my May TBR. I'm kind of not in the mood for this right now, if I'm being completely honest. But I also feel like if I don't get to this in May, I'm not gonna get to it this year. Like, I need to get to it in spring. I still have a couple days left in May though, so I don't know. This is definitely to be considered. I also kind of want to read Lost Lambs. I was gonna read Lost Lambs next before I read The Paradise Problem, but I was like, I do want to read a romance book. And now that I've done that, I feel like I got my fix. Maybe I could pick up Lost Lambs. And on a completely different note, I also kind of want to read this brick, The Sisters. Honestly, it's not even that long. It's just hardcover, and so it looks huge. I think it's like a little bit over 600 pages, which is definitely above average. But if I looked at this and someone was like, guess how many pages this is, I probably would have guessed like 800 or something. So it's really not that bad. I think it's between these two. When I put this one up next to them, I kind of just, I'm not in the mood for this right now. One thing that I am thinking though is that I always had intentions of listening to this while reading it, immersive reading, and that could be helpful for when I wake up at 5 a.m. tomorrow morning. So maybe I could start this tomorrow morning. But for right now, I am waking up and I don't feel like I need that, but I feel like that could be really helpful in the morning actually, to listen along while I'm reading it. And maybe it won't take me so long to read 45 pages again. I'm gonna like read a chapter of both of these and see how I'm feeling. It's the size difference. thought it was supposed to get better as the days go on. Why is day 2 worse, bro? I think I put these eye patches on the wrong side, so they could potentially be doing nothing right now. I don't even know. I also don't have any coffee. I'm gonna have to wait until 9 a.m. to get coffee, so that's rough. I could make a matcha, but honestly, matcha does nothing for a while. Like, it takes so... I definitely put these on the wrong side because they're just like slipping. Anyway, matcha takes so long for the caffeine to actually hit, which is a good thing sometimes. Like, I'm like hearing things. I don't know what that is. Anyway, it's a good thing sometimes when I have it in the morning, like throughout my day, it's great. But then there are some days I just like need the caffeine to hit right away. And also, sometimes I would have a matcha at like noon, and at 9 p.m. at night when I'm supposed to be getting ready for bed and settling in, I can still feel the caffeine from the matcha. Actually, maybe I should have a matcha now. Sometimes I just need to talk myself through things. Also, I'm like hearing something and it's scaring me. I should not be awake right now. Do you see what happens when I'm like awake at 5 a.m.? I'm scared of my own apartment. My morning brain keeps forgetting to tell you what the books are about. This is basically about a dysfunctional family. The parents in the family are going through a phase where they opened their marriage. The father doesn't really want this, but it's either that or divorce. And so he deals with it. That's what the mom wants. And that is kind of like trickling down and affecting the whole family, obviously. It's like, what do you mean you're married, you're living together with 3 kids, and the marriage is open? Actually, maybe I shouldn't judge anyone's arrangements, even though dad doesn't like the arrangement. Anyway, all 3 of the girls have their own things. Abigail, the eldest daughter, is dating a man in his 20s nicknamed War Crime Wes. I don't even exactly know how old Abigail is. I'm pretty sure she's still in high school. I'm guessing she's way too young to be dating someone in his 20s. Louise is the middle child, maintains a secret correspondence with an online terrorist. The brilliant youngest, Harper, is being sent to wilderness reform camp due to her insistence that someone or something is monitoring the town's citizens. I haven't gotten to that part yet. Harper, though, yeah, she is brilliant. I've seen that part, but I haven't gotten to the part where she's being sent to the wilderness. There's like more about this billionaire in the small coastal town that's like corrupting the town, but I feel like I don't need to get into all that. It's about a dysfunctional family, and I find it kind of funny. There's like satire, and I don't know, they're just weird. I don't know if this is considered weird girl fiction, because I know like some books get really weird, and this probably isn't gonna get that weird, but it is a little bit weird, and I find it funny. But it doesn't really take much for me to laugh, honestly. But yeah, that's what the book is about. Sorry I didn't tell you. morning brain. But you see how I just had a little bit of caffeine and then it clicked? I hate that I'm so dependent on caffeine, but we got there, and that's the most important thing. Anyway, I'm gonna continue reading. I'm really enjoying it so far. The way that it's written is very entertaining. Like, it's just flowing so nicely. I'm about to go to bed before I have to wake up tomorrow again and torture myself. So far, first of all, I thought I was doing this for like 3 days already. It's only been 2 days. I was originally gonna do this for 7 days, but I'm gonna do it for 5 instead. I need to love myself. So far, I'm not sure if I'm reading more. I feel like I'm reading the same amount of pages per day. Like overall, when the day ends and I tally up the amount of pages, I mean, it has only been 2 days. Maybe I should shut up. But the days feel so much longer when you wake up at 5 a.m. That's the thing. That's why I feel like I've been doing this forever. The days just feel so long, which is, I feel like, is a good thing in general, but doesn't really do anything for my reading. Like, for example, I've been working out twice a day. I usually just do the bare minimum on the treadmill, but I've been doing the treadmill, and then later in the day, it's like, it feels like I didn't work out yet, and so I do a little like Pilates video that I find on YouTube, random ones. So I've been working out twice a day, which feels great, but that's just like a general plus for life. But it's not really doing anything for the reading, which is originally the point. But I'm feeling some sort of benefits, so I guess that's something. I'm going to do an official overall conclusion about what I think of this waking up at 5 a.m. thing at the end of the video though. I'm gonna give it its 5 days, even though. Also, I'm going crazy. Do you see that? I thought that was like a bug or something. Why would it be a bug? As I said, I'll leave the conclusions for the end of the video. I'm not sure if I'm built for the 5 a.m. life though. Anyway, Lost Lambs, I don't really have much to update on. I really do like it. The sisters are so unhinged. All 3 of them, they have such big personalities and such crazy aspects to their lives. It's like Little Women, but unhinged. There's this one thing in this book though, where the author adds extra G's to words and random G's to words, so it's like it looks like a really horrible and obvious typo, and it's a stylistic choice, and I know why it's there. You find out why it's there from the first page, and it's meant to be a nuisance, the way that from the first page this thing was a nuisance. Anyway, it's like symbolic, it's a stylistic choice. It's a quirky thing about the book, but it's weird. It's weird to have random G's in random words. I'm at least glad that it's like really obvious and it's not this thing where I'm like, is this a typo? Well, actually, I'm not gonna lie. The first time I was like, is this a typo? I think the first one I noticed was, which probably wasn't the first one in the entire book, which is bad for me, but it was 5 a.m. I can't notice everything. The first one I noticed was signature being spelled with 2 G's, and I was like, what? And I definitely did think that that one was a typo, but very soon after that, I saw another one. Explanation had a G in it, and I was like, oh, this is definitely a stylistic thing. And then I remember from the first page why it would be that way. This is definitely a weird book. I like it though. I don't know why. I'm enjoying this, but I am. And it's the way that it flows. I have come to realize if a book doesn't flow well for me, I will have lots to say about it. Lots of bad things to say about it. But once it flows well for me, like, I'm happy. I'm a satisfied customer. So yeah, I'm gonna read a little bit more before bed, before I have to go to sleep and wake up at 5 a.m. again. And I'll put it on the screen how much I've read for the day, but it's probably not gonna be that much more than what I'm used to, you know? You know what I mean?
I'm not even putting that light on. I deserve better than this. I'm going back to sleep.
So if you're wondering how my day went after I snoozed that alarm, I woke up at like a little bit after 8 a.m. So like normal time. It is Saturday today, and that's why I was just like, I'm not doing it. Why would I be awake at 5 a.m. on a Saturday? That's so unnecessary. But anyway, yeah, snoozed the alarm, woke up at 8 a.m. instead, a little bit after 8 a.m. And funny enough, today's the day that I've read the most so far. So this is just ridiculous. I finished Lost Lambs. I literally just finished it, but I was like reading it throughout the day. I read it on a treadmill and stuff. I love this weird little book. It's so strange, it's so odd, and I can't explain the weirdness to you. You just have to read it for yourself to see how weird it is. Unless you're not into weird, then maybe not. But it was so interesting. So as the book kept going, I continued to see the parents and how their open marriage is going. And honestly, them opening their marriage was like the root of all the problems. Like, it was such a butterfly effect of domino effect of so many bad things happening. There's this billionaire in the town that the father works for, and there's a lot of corruption going on in his business, and obviously because the father works for this man, it all connects, and everyone in this small town just has these connections. So the corruption comes to light in the most crazy way, and the kids are involved, and it's just like this is so weird, and it's so not what I expected. I could have sworn that I had it. I could have sworn that I knew what it was, and then it just took another turn. I was like, what? This is so sick, but very interesting. This book had great dialogue. It had dark humor, which I love. It just feels a little bit silly, but in a good way. And by the end of it, I was like, why am I rooting for all of these people and their really dysfunctional relationships and connections to each other? Like, why am I rooting for this? It's so unnatural. The middle child, Louise, I love the way that her brain works. I also love the way that Harper, the youngest daughter, I love the way that her brain works as well. I'm kind of just realizing it's Madeline Cash, the way that she wrote these people. I love Madeline Cash. I love her brain. And this isn't her first published piece of work. She has some short stories that she published before this, but this is her first like novel, full-length novel. And I am so sad for more. I just love this, and I don't know how she came up with this. The thing with the G's that I mentioned, it stops and it directly correlates to something. I feel like I'm explaining this so poorly. It's just one of those things. You've got to read it for yourself. You got to just go find out for yourself. I also feel like the writing is so bingeable. I obviously didn't binge it because I guess I was too sleep deprived to be doing that, but I did binge the last bit of it, and I feel like under normal circumstances, I probably would have binged the entire thing. It's such a quick read as well. It's so good. I loved it. I'm stuck between like 4.5 and 5 stars right now. I think I'm just gonna say 4.5 for now, and if I can't stop thinking about it, then I'll change it to a 5, but I think it's 4.5. I really recommend that you try this out though. It's really popular, and I feel like it's been making its rounds. It's It's very unique. It's very different. I think it's something you have to have an open mind for. But I had fun reading it, I can't lie. So before I go to sleep, I think I'm gonna start Tom Lake. I think. Or maybe I might just fall asleep. Who knows? I'll update you tomorrow at 5 a.m. I'm actually gonna get up. I think. I hope. But also, like, why is this challenge literally backfiring? Like, why did I read way more on the day that I failed, that I like snoozed the alarm and didn't wake up at 5 a.m. Like, that's kind of crazy. I feel like for reading, it's just not going well, but for everything else, like life in general, being awake at 5 a.m., I feel like it works. And I just feel like I have so much more time throughout the day. I already talked about how I've been doing 2 workouts. In addition to my 2 workouts, I also went swimming, which some people might say is a workout. I feel like there's 2 different types of going swimming. Sometimes I go to just flop around and be lazy, but sometimes I actually like do laps and do techniques, and that to me is exercise. So I was basically doing 3 different workouts. I don't know, and I just feel great in that sense, but it's really doing nothing for my reading, which is the point of this video. 5 a.m. waking up, good for life. And that 1 extra hour, I don't know what it is, it feels like so much extra time in the day. Also, I'm like going to sleep earlier too, so it really isn't extra time. It's quite literally the same amount of time. I don't know why it feels so different. What's the science behind that? Not beneficial for reading though. I said I was gonna do my conclusions at the end, but I just have things to say, I guess. Anyway, see you tomorrow. So this morning I was trying to read Tom Lake, and you saw that I was bored, so I started this instead. Like, it's 5 a.m. You gotta keep my attention. I can't be bored, or else I would have just fallen back to sleep. So I started this instead, and I'm really liking this so far. It's called Sisters, and it is about 3 sisters. I just love books about sisters. I don't know why. Actually, I am a sister. I'm the youngest of 3. and we have our own interesting dynamics, but that's no one's business. I love reading about sisters. It gets me every time, whether it's positive or negative. Just, I think there will always be a little bit of both. I think the relationship between sisters is always not so black or white. And I love reading and relating to certain things. But anyway, yeah, they're three sisters. We're reading about sisters again, like we did in Lost Lambs. And the eldest daughter, Ina, she is very stereotypical eldest daughter. She's like the organized one. She is very serious. And then Evelyn, the middle child, she's very charismatic and charming. And Anastasia, she's the youngest, and she's a chaotic mess. I'm the youngest as well. But anyway, one of the most interesting parts of this book to me is that there is a fourth character. He grew up in the same village as the sisters when they were younger, and then we're following all of them throughout years. So we're gonna see how his life just connects with theirs throughout all of these years, but that's their first connection. They grew up in this town together. There's another connection, but I won't say that just in case you want to read this. And I don't like to do minor spoilers either. I definitely don't do big ones, but I try to limit the small ones as well. So anyway, won't say that. The interesting thing about this character is that he has the same name as the author, like the same first and last name. The middle name isn't mentioned, but that's it's like he wrote this book about these sisters, but he's also in the book witnessing their life. I just think that's pretty cool. He named a character after himself. Real, I would do that too. I only got to page 76 of this book, which isn't far into it at all. This book is over 600 pages, and we're gonna see decades of their lives. And I think one thing that I'm finding interesting, which is in the description, is they are currently living in Stockholm, and I think this book is like one of them is gonna end up in New York, and I would really love to see the contrast between those two settings, like them in Stockholm right now versus them in New York, and just see how all of that works. I'm excited for that part. Also, these two things are in the description of the book, but Evelyn is gonna disappear, and the man Jonas is going to be the one looking for her, and one of the sisters also is gonna get betrayed by her husband. Again, that's all in description. None of that has happened yet in these 76 pages. I feel like we're learning bits of their childhood. We've learned things about their mom, which their mom is really interesting. We've learned about their dad and just how they grew up. We haven't learned any of that part yet, so I don't even know either, girl. Like, it's not a spoiler at all. It's in the description. And also, we're getting parts of their adult lives too. Like, it's doing flashbacks and the now. I love how it's written. I feel like it's stream of consciousness. That's what I was looking for. I feel like that's how it's going. I love that. So yeah, I'm gonna read more, fall asleep, and I'll put on the screen how much I've read for today. And tomorrow's the last day that I'm waking up at 5 a.m. to read. I probably won't finish this brick of a book in this video, but I'll continue it in the next one. I do wrap-ups. I'm liking it so far though. And I'm so curious where it's going, because based on the description, it seems like it's gonna get a little weird, a little crazy. Like, why did someone disappear? What's with the betrayal? I need to know. So I'll continue reading. Oh my god, speaking of Sweden, I don't even know how I forgot to mention this, but I watched Sentimental Value today, and probably one of the reasons I didn't read more of this book, because after watching it, I was crashing out. I have never cried that much to a movie before. Books, yes. I've cried a lot to books, Movies, no. Like, I've shed tears over movies. I'm not a big crier when it comes to movies. I was quite literally having a panic attack, which is another thing. I haven't had a panic attack since 2023. And my first panic attack since 2023 was while watching Sentimental Value. It was such a good movie though. I hate that that was the experience, but like it was so good. And if you don't know anything about Sentimental Value and the correlation to what I just said, I was like, speaking of Sweden, they speak 4 different languages in that movie, Swedish being one of them. And also he like moved from Norway to go to Sweden for a little bit. He was in France for a little bit. Anyway, yeah, that's why it like I like remembered. And I honestly didn't even like plan to read this and watch that. It was completely coincidental. But yeah, if you've watched it and you know the monologue, the script, and Rachel reading the script, but then Nora later reading the script as well. When Rachel read the script, I was touched originally. I liked the monologue, I thought it was great. But then Nora read it and I literally crashed out. Like, I was quite literally having a panic attack. I could not breathe. I don't know why it hit me like that. But yeah, Sentimental Value, great movie. Yeah, I love the fact that like all of the movies from last year that were so critically acclaimed, I just never watched them. And then this year I watched them and I'm like screaming from the rooftop, telling everyone they should go watch it. And they're like, girl, we watched that last year. But I'm sorry, it's now on streaming, so if you haven't watched Sentimental Value, you should. If you were thinking about it, you should. And then after my moment while watching it, it finishes the final song. Wait, I need to look up the lyrics of the final song. They played it from the second verse. I've been down for oh so long. It seemed like my soul was dead and gone, but it's alright. I'm back in the fight. I thought my day will never come. Maybe it won't, but I'll have fun. And I'll hold tight, cause that way it might. Just, if you know the movie, it ending with that. I can't. I'm gonna crash out again. I need to forget this movie so that I can just watch it again. So good. I journaled about it. I wrote out the entire monologue in my journal because it means something. And the name Sentimental Value, well, yes. Also, they're sisters in that movie. There's only 2 of them though, and their bond and what they went through, love it. I don't love what they went through, but I love their relationship. And again, there's one part at the end. I don't want to spoil the whole thing for you, but you should go watch it if you haven't. That post-Sentimental Value crash out was crazy though. Playlists on Spotify, journaling, researching, finding out all of the actors, the director, seeing that the director has another movie with the main character of that one. I'm like, I will be watching that next, even though the plot of it doesn't seem like it's gonna be touching at all. But it does look interesting, so I'm gonna watch it anyway. I'm glad it won an Oscar. Deserved, because what? Anyway, that is not what this video is about, like, at all. I just needed to talk about it. You know what I wish? I wish that movie was a book. I feel like there's so many times I read books and I'm like, I wish this was a movie. I hope this becomes a movie. I never watch movies and think I wish this was a book. I wish Sentimental Valley was a book. All right, I'm done.
I haven't started reading yet. It's, what does that say? 5:07? You know what the first thing I did was I just looked up books to read if you liked sentimental value. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. But literally, this book that I'm reading right now is first on the list. Like, I know the whole Sweden thing, like, that reminded me to talk about it, but this was just such a coincidence because actually I started this movie a couple weeks ago. I only got into like 15 minutes of it and then I started it over when I was watching it yesterday. Anyway, but it's like so funny that I was originally gonna watch it a couple weeks ago and then I didn't, and I watched it yesterday when I started this book yesterday. And this is the first book they say to read if you liked sentimental value. That's spooky, but also like perfect. I need to see what else is on the list though, because I feel like that movie it's just like giving me the same vibe as when I read a really good book. When there's a 5-star read, and I love movies, I love a movie, but that's not usually the same feeling, you know? I should shut up. Time's ticking. At least I'm still awake. I'm kind of wide awake right now. Why am I yapping? This is the last thing, I swear. But as I was looking more at book recs for if you like sentimental value, there was an Instagram post. I don't even have Instagram on my phone anymore, but through web, I saw this Instagram post that said, for Nora, the first book you should read is Sorrow and Bliss, which is one of my all-time favorite books. I think this movie was just, I was meant to see it, and I'm glad that I've seen it. But also for Gustav, it says East of Eden, which is on my TBR. I've been thinking about reading it. I've been thinking about reading it in June. I don't own it though, and I do want to stop buying books. So we'll see how that goes. And then for Agnes, you wouldn't believe what's there. Blue Sisters and Little Women. I kind of love that the books that I love are already on the list of recommendations, but it's also like not giving me enough range because it's like, okay, I've already read those. But I am gonna take note of the others. Okay, now for real, I'm done talking about it and I'm gonna start reading. I should get out of bed.
So now that the week is over, I can confidently say that this is not for me. I know it works for a lot of other people, but my brain just doesn't work at 5 a.m. and I just cannot understand what's so different between 6 a.m. and 5 a.m. Like, no matter how early I went to sleep the night before, still woke up feeling wrecked at 5 a.m. Also thought I would get used to it. I felt like it was getting worse. And as for the reading, I definitely wasn't reading anymore. I was either reading the same amount of pages or on some days less. So this was a fun experiment. I'm gonna go back to my nightly reading. I mean, just hope for the best. Hope I'm not falling asleep too soon, but yeah. This one's not for me. I will say though, waking up at 5 a.m., the rest of my day felt so long, even though I was like going to sleep earlier. Like, I don't know, the day just felt so full, and I think that might be why I wasn't reading as much as well. I just felt like I had so much time to do more workouts. I already mentioned this, but I was doing the treadmill, which is what I usually do, the absolute bare minimum on the treadmill. And then I added in more workouts at the end of the day, like around 5 p.m. I would crave to like do some sort of Pilates video or some kind of body weight workout. So that kind of got incorporated into things. And then there was one day where I was also swimming. I felt more motivated to move my body, and I just felt like I had way more time in the day to do that, so that's a plus. I feel like it was a good thing for just overall life. Like, I get why people wake up at 5 a.m, but it just didn't do anything for my reading. I think maybe I should have like woken up at 5 a.m, gone on about my day, just doing other things, and then like tried to pick up the book. I think trying to pick up the book immediately after waking up when my brain is just so scattered, that was the issue. Maybe. I don't know. And I guess we'll never know, because I will not be doing that again. And random, but I have no idea why I was so hungry at 5 a.m. Like, when I wake up later, I'm not usually that hungry. But 5 a.m, I woke up and I was just starving. I don't know what that's about. You know what I was just thinking about? Me saying that 1 hour between 5 a.m. and 6 a.m. feeling so intensely different. It reminds me of high school. A lot of high schools in where I'm from, they started at 8 a.m, but mine started at 7:45 a.m. And I was pretty much late for high school every day for the entire 5 years. Like, I was just never early once. And I would reach at around 8 a.m. And it's like those 15 minutes meant so much. So clearly time in the morning is just different. So obviously an hour definitely would make a difference, because those 15 minutes used to have me in shambles. So anyway, that's the end of this video. Let me know if you're the type of person that wakes up at 5 a.m. just in life in general, if that's something you enjoy doing, or maybe something that you have to do. If it's something you have to do, I'm so sorry. If you're used to it though, that's great, because as I said, like, I loved it for life in general, just didn't really do anything for my reading. Also, I continued reading this, and I will continue reading it in my next video. I'll just pick up where we left off, but I'm loving it so far, so it's gonna take me a minute, but I'm liking it. That's my conclusion on that. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you got to this point of the video, comment any clock or time emoji for the 5 a.m. RIP to that, because we're definitely not doing that anymore in my life. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Bye.